Also, yeah, in terms of the two challenges, there's the Campus Cup challenge. So the Campus Cup challenge is for students who are registered in academic institutions, and this app might be existing, but you have to be working on it, at least some features in the academy and through the hackathon. Then the best hackathon solution exclusively to do with the hackathon. And with this one, there's no age limit, and you do not need to belong to any academic institution. So about self-taught learners, self-taught developers, you have got all the freedom here in that regard. So Mukonzi gave a session on Tuesday, but I just want to quickly invite him to give a few words and also some guidance in terms of what are some of the errors that you're likely to encounter in your journey, and also how to resolve them. Because things happen, technology fails. So like right now, I don't know what's happening to the photo there. I don't know what's happening to the logos, but technology can fail you at the point in time. So let me just invite Mukonzi to the virtual stage to take us through how to resolve some of the common issues. Mukonzi?
Okay, good morning, good people. I hope everyone is still doing okay. I see Tiani has replaced my photo with a white background there. But yeah, I just want to recap a few things that I think a lot of people have been having issues with, particularly with Android Studio. And then I'll give a few pointers on like how to solve them. Okay, so the first and major issue, like which I've seen, is an issue of space. So it's either they don't have enough capacity like in their machine to be able to create a virtual machine or to be able to run Android Studio. So what happens is when they start up Android Studio, it just slows down the entire PC and they can't click on anything, even within Android Studio itself. The second issue I've seen has specifically to do with the AVD. So when they create the device to test with within Android Studio, it tends to slow down their PC as well, or the device itself is just a bit slow. And the third issue I've seen, and I think it's the most frustrating one, is to do with Gradle. So sometimes if there is something that's not set up properly within your machine, Gradle does run into issues. It will throw all kinds of issues that you'll be able to see, but like I've seen for a lot of people, it's a bit hard for them to actually solve those. And then the last issue which I've seen has to do with Kotlin and the Kotlin syntax. So I think this is just to do with people getting used to how Kotlin is written, how Kotlin works, and also how it works with Android as well. So I'll just start with the first issue. So Android Studio does require some minimums, like in your PC to be able to run. It requires 4 gig RAM, like according to Google, and like it's a processor which is compatible with 4 gig RAM, like for it to be able to run. So if you have a lower spec, you can still run it, but my recommendation is just make sure you shut down everything else in the PC. So make sure you're only running Android Studio, and make sure that you first maybe just restart the PC so that it's a fresh start, and then you run Android Studio alone. Anything else that you need, I would recommend you write on paper. If there's another resource which you really need, you can open a browser. But even with a browser, make sure you keep it to like a bare minimum regarding tabs. So maybe you can have 1 or 2 tabs open so that you can be able to Google things. But normally, when I have the same issue with my PC, I just shut down the PC and restart again and reopen Android Studio and make sure that I'm not running too many applications so that it's able to run. And the second issue with the AVD, the recommendation was given in the Tuesday session, which is if you think that your PC is like it's a bit slow for an AVD, one, you can just lower your options on the AVD. So like you would see, you have a lot of options when you are creating the AVD. There is a way to lower the RAM size and the space size on that AVD, and that's going to allow it to at least be compatible with your specifications of the PC. And the second is, I think, most important one, which is you can actually test with a phone. So if you have an Android phone, you can plug it in using a USB cord, and you'll be able to test using it. The options to follow to actually enable that were given in the Tuesday session, but I'll just repeat them quickly. One is you go to your settings on the phone, and then you go to About Phone and look for a build number. And then just click on that build number, quite fast, maybe 5 times until it says you are now a developer. And then go to your settings again, search for developer options, and then look for USB debugging and make sure that's enabled. And then lastly, plug it into your PC. There will be another option that pops up within your app that says like allow USB debugging. Just click on that, and from there on, you should be able to test with that the device within Android Studio. And now with the issues that have to do with Kotlin and how Android works, so like it does take a bit of time for anyone to get used to the syntax of any language. I think you just need to be patient with yourself and understand that it's going to take maybe a week or two for you to get accustomed to how Kotlin works. And I think it also helps to separate programming issues and like an Android issues. So programming issues are ones that have to do with logic. So there you'll be seeing things like null pointers and things like that. Or you'll be seeing like your logic, maybe you're trying to write the logic that's going to log into a particular server, or a logic that's going to calculate something and send back to the user. If that's not working, you know that specific problem is that specific problem is a programming problem, so you need to treat it as such. And Android Studios, you need to solve them separately. And then the last issue, the last issue I think is the most important one, which is the Gradle issue. So with Gradle, the best way to solve this is if you haven't made any code changes like within your project, I would just recommend you remove the current project you have. You create one from you create one from scratch. So what this is going to do is going to allow Android Studio to use the recommended settings of Gradle to actually run the project. So if you do have to change things within Gradle, just make sure that you are following the guidelines which are provided by Android. They are available on the Android website, and I will share a link with Tiani so that everyone actually has access to that. But I wouldn't fiddle with Gradle. If something is broken, I would just remove the project and start it again. And also, while speaking on Gradle, if you do make changes to Gradle, there is usually a bar that shows up at the bottom, which is going to have try again and a few other options. So Gradle is an internet-based build system. A lot of the plugins and tools which it needs, and libraries which it needs to build the app, it actually tries to download online. So some of the issues you may find that have to do with your connection. So like you just need to make sure that your connection is good to actually download those Gradle plugins. So anytime you change anything within Gradle, just make sure that you go to the top and click try again. Try again is going to re-download like any of the resources which it needs to re-download. And if you continue with having further issues, will be available throughout the day and tomorrow. So you can just post on Slack on that Code Clinic channel, and I'll be able to reply there. And just a few words of encouragement from my side. I know for people that are doing this for the first time, it must be a both thrilling and frustrating experience, and I think like it is for everyone who starts building applications. But I just wanted to know that it does get better. When I started building my PC, I would just want to repeat this story. I think I told it on Tuesday as well. I was using a computer I bought for 850 on Gumtree. It was not the fastest of machines. And I also ran into a lot of the issues that a lot of people are running into with speed as well. And I was able to be patient for a bit. And that actually like allowed me to like learn Android Studio just using that basic PC which I bought on Gumtree, and like ultimately I was able to grasp the concepts of Android Studio, and I was able to build my first app using that, just following the recommendations I mentioned of like what to do when your PC like actually slows down. And I just also a word of encouragement, rather like also a word of encouragement regarding Kotlin. So Kotlin is like it's a very hot language in the market, and it's going to be very beneficial for you to learn Kotlin, even if you don't feel very comfortable with it, or even if you don't feel that it's going to be the ultimate language you use to build an application. But I think it's going to be really useful for you as a developer to learn Kotlin and just to see like what Kotlin is about, because it is becoming the hottest language in the market, also because it's a cross-platform language, meaning you'll be able to build for both you'll be able to build for both iOS and Android using Kotlin, and other developers are actually doing that at the moment. So the same thing that people are able to do with React and React Native and Flutter, you will be able to do with Kotlin as well. And also, as Tiani said in the previous slide, the whole goal of building applications is you need to build it your way. You know, you need to find what you're comfortable with. As facilitators, as the support community, we're going to show you all the options that you actually have. And I think the Tuesday option, this coming Tuesday session is very important as well, because it's going to introduce you to things like Flutter and all the other options that you have in building your app, so that when you do ultimately build your app, you build it your way. You build it with something that you're comfortable with. But obviously, it's up to us as the facilitators to ensure that all the information that you need to make those decisions is at your disposal, and that you have the support that you need throughout your development journey. And I hope this coming week is fun for everyone. UX and UI is king in the app dev space. Yeah, and I really think you're going to enjoy it. And be patient when you're having issues, then get too frustrated. Reach out to facilitators, even if you have to bug us 100 times. Keep on doing that until you get until you get the help that you need. And yeah, I think that's my that's my bit.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Mkondle, for that guidance. And we certainly look forward to more sessions with you. Just a note to everyone before Kutazo gets started. Please just go to this link, github.com/kgundula/nevdrawer. So this is the code that will be used for today's session, and do get it and play around with it. So without any further ado, just to remind everyone in terms of the exercise submission, your team is expected to submit one exercise, and that exercise for this week is an APK in terms of us trying to understand how is your team coming along in learning the basics. So you're expected to create a basic app with a splash screen with a dashboard. So a dashboard is literally a dashboard that you would know in a car with, and it has the controls to other things. So in Android or apps development, the dashboard is normally a link to other screens as well.
Please show the link again.
All right, I've also posted the link on the chat, so you can just click there directly as well. And we'll also post it on Slack as well. Are you fine? Okay, in the interest of time, ladies and gentlemen, let me just move on. So the exercise submission is tomorrow by 12 p.m. Just make sure that your team submit this week's exercise. Right, so the next presenter, and he will be taking us throughout the session, is Khutazo Gundula. He is one of the best developers I know. So he's a senior Android engineer at Discovery Limited, and also Google Developer Group's lead for Pretoria. Without any further ado, KJ, are you ready for this?
Yes, I am. I hope everyone is excited as I am. Yeah, I'll start sharing my screen now. All right. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Cool. As Tiani mentioned, my name is Khutazo Gundula. I am an Android developer. So that's who I am. And contact, I am K Gundula. So that's like on all the social networks that I'm on. You'll find me as K Gundula. That's my handle. Cool. Yeah, and then that's it. That's the slides. I don't have any slides. If you were hoping to see slides, I don't have any other slides.
I'm sorry. Can I please request that those who are not speaking, maybe like they switch off their cameras, please?
Cool. So that's today's slides. Yeah, the rest of the session will just be us talking about how one develops, or rather like develops an app. And then there are a few things that I would like to share that will be beneficial to you when you are busy in this journey of development. So the first one is Google. This is your best friend. Whatever error you get, if you copy it and paste it here, I'm sure something will come back. And if you read through, you might find a solution there. Okay, so there was a question here, like, or rather there was an issue which a lot of people were experiencing, like enabling debug mode on your phone. So I quickly just say, type on Google, enable debug mode Android, right? And then there was a couple of links, and then I found one which from the developer docs, which shows you how to do it. And that is the link. So if you follow these steps, settings, system, developer options, all of that. So that's when you've already that's when it's already enabled. This is how to enable developer mode. Cool. So as you can see, Google is your friend. With Google, you can solve any problem. I was able to find some of the issues straight from the developer docs. Okay, cool. Developer.android.com. This is, if you want to be an Android developer, this is the best resource for you to go through. Like whenever you want to learn something, it will be here, because this is how Google documents everything about Android, whether it's downloading, whether it's like developing for Android, for games, for Android Wear, anything and everything you find here. You find everything about Kotlin and all of that. And then thirdly, Stack Overflow. As you know, like as developers, we experience issues that sometimes we ask other developers to help us with. And this is one of the best resources where you can come and post a question, and other developers will try to assist you. Okay, cool. I'm gonna rush off quickly on these because this is just like a recap of, or rather like a little bit of FYI. Okay, cool. If you have question or if you're confused, like when we're going through the code, rather raise your hand, and I think Tiani will assist me to maybe stop, and then we take those questions. Cool. Is everyone hearing me properly?
Yes, there was just one person who said the sound is low. I just want to check perhaps if their volume is slow. And then also there's someone who says that they can't see what is projected clearly. Unfortunately, this is only a web browser. So yeah.
Okay, cool. As Tiani mentioned, the code for this session will be available. It's already available. It's public. You can clone it. You can look at it, critique it. It's available for everyone. Cool. And then that's the code lab. That's the code that we'll be using. And for today's session, I thought like I'll build like an app which will communicate like with like a server and fetch some data and display it. So this will be this. So there's this API called the cat API where you can find a whole bunch of cats. And yeah, so to get started, so we'll start with Android, and then this is how I started with this project. So I was like, how can I start? So I said new project, and Android Studio was like, there's a whole bunch of templates. Which one do you want to start with? This is good because instead of you starting from scratch, Android has templates that you can use, that you can sort of like expand your project on. So I chose this template, a navigation drawer, and navigation drawer activity, and then I put my app name there, which is nav drawer, and then package name, and then I click finish, and then it generates it.
Sorry, KJ, do you mind just taking everyone through the naming of the app, and also how the package name is decided?
Okay, cool. So name would be your application name here. So for me, because this is, I'm not going to publish this, it's just an app that I wanted to learn something, or rather to teach something. Just name it nav drawer because I wanted to build something with nav drawers. So so that will be your name. This will be if you publish your app on this App Store or Play Store, or rather Play Store. It will be visible. This will be the name that you use, and then when people search nav drawer, they'll find your app. And then the package name, it has to be unique. It's the one that identifies your app as unique on the store. So I chose a domain name in reverse because I own this domain. No one will own this domain besides me. So this package name is just my domain name in reverse, and then the name of the app. And then if I were to publish this app, I don't think anyone would have done that. And even if they do, and you can prove that you own like a specific domain, let's say like a corporation like Twitter, right? Twitter.com, and then someone before they made an Android app, and someone went on to create an app and call it com.twitter.whatever. like Twitter, right? And they publish a Twitter, they have it within their rights to go and claim that sort of like package, and they can have that app removed from the Play Store. This is to prevent people sort of like claiming that an app is from a specific company when it's not. And then your location here, this is where your project will be saved in your hard drive. And then the language, obviously, I chose Kotlin because we are focusing on Kotlin, but you can also choose Java and then build in Java. But for now, we'll just choose Kotlin. For this project, we're using Kotlin. And the minimum SDK, it's the minimum SDK you want to support. A lot of people are using like high-end devices, so I just chose minimum API 26, which is Oreo. And then if you look here, it even tells you like your app will run on approximately 60% of the devices. This is based on people who have physical devices and they have logged in on those devices on the Play Store. This is, if we were to publish our app, we would get like 60% of the devices from the Play Store, which will be able to run our app. And then if you want to support legacy libraries, you can click that, but we're not gonna do that because we want to build our app with the latest APIs. So if I click finish here, it will generate that project. But because I've already done it, I'm not gonna do it now. So I'll just go back, and then obviously there are different templates which gives you sort of like basic boiler code templates for your app. It's sort of like your structure. It gives you a structure. You can experiment on these just to just to see how it works, and like fiddle around just to see. Okay, cool. I'm gonna, in the interest of time, I'm gonna open the project. So at this point, I created a new app and just click finish, and then it started to download Gradle settings for the project.
Sorry, KJ, we actually forgot one thing. Do you mind quickly changing your IDE to light mode? Because because normally others don't get to see well. And if you can increase the font a little bit.
Okay. I haven't used any other. How do I do that now?
And then settings, editor. Oh yeah.
Nah, you know where it is. It's just I haven't done it in years. I always use dark mode. Is it better? Okay, can you see?
Yeah, I think so. But anyone else? Is everyone able to see the IDE well?
Yes, we can see. I can see.
Okay. At this point, what I've done is I just click the template and then click finish, and then it downloaded all the Gradle files, and then it configured the project, and then the project is ready. So at this point, I should be able to just run the app and see what this template does. Okay, I have my emulator on the side here. I don't want it to be separate. Yeah, go ahead.
This template, is this the one from GitHub?
Yes. So this is the project from which I posted on GitHub. So we are on the main branch at this point.
Okay.
So if you
We're
just
not
clone that,
familiar. We're not familiar with GitHub. GitHub can be confusing. How do we download this file from GitHub?
oh, okay. It's so easy. Let me find my. So can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, cool. There are a few options here. Like you can clone the project. It's the same as Git clone. You can, if you have GitHub desktop, you can open the project in GitHub desktop. So this will be the same thing as cloning it, but you're just using GitHub desktop, which is like an app. And then you can just download a zip. But GitHub is just the same as Bitbucket. I think you've been using Bitbucket or any other version control,
Never even
or
heard of that one.
or GitLab or anything like that. But GitHub, it's just they save your, they give you an option to use Git on the cloud. It's just like we're still using Git. Okay, cool. I've launched.
KJ. Oh, okay. KJ, just quickly, and this will be the light one, the last one, perhaps. So some are saying that the dark mode was better, and if we can increase the font size again as well.
Dark mode was better, so I should go back to dark mode or increase the font.
Okay, so there are mixed feelings. There are those that say you must keep light mode okay, let's just have a look at it maybe.
It's fine. When I am explaining the code, I will zoom in. I'll enter into presentation mode, but I'll switch between presentation mode and development mode so that we can see. I think this is too big.
Okay, cool.
Okay, cool. If you want dark mode, let me know. I'll prefer it. But if you want light mode, I'm sure I can survive for a day on light mode. Cool. At this point, I have my emulator running on the side here, not as a separate app. And it's mainly because I just prefer it this way because I can change something, I can deploy, I don't have to switch between two different tabs. And then I'll just explain the structure of the project. Like when you use the navigation drawer template. It only has one activity and then a couple of fragments. So that will be the activity, and it's the launcher activity, and then the rest of the stuff happens on the fragments. They created for us gallery, home, slideshow. So that's my hamburger menu because of the navigation drawer. So I see gallery, slideshow. Cool. So that's just a nav drawer. One thing I've noticed when you, after using the navigation drawer template, you'll see it doesn't click here. There's a bug. You know, you are not able to click to change to different fragments or to change to different screens. There's a bug here which we'll fix soon, but I just want to go through the structure here. So if you remember, we spoke about that package name, which is this. So this would be your unique app identifier. So once I publish this app, no one can publish a nav drawer application with this package on the Google Play Store. Cool. And then in UI, under UI here, you have gallery, home, slideshow. So this here you have like a fragment and a view model with it. And this fragment, all it does, or rather what a fragment is, it's a, so your activity will be this whole screen, and then your fragment will, you'll be able, it will be this part here, like the content view here, where you can put your content. Cool. So what this fragment does is it just has a label or text view, which just says text, which says this is home fragment. So we are on the home fragment. So let's rather, because I can't click here yet, we'll just go to the home fragment and then explain. Let me see if I can. I'm trying to find something. Appearance. Okay, cool. I found it. Cool. Can you see clearly? Okay, we are in presentation mode. So I'm just going to explain here. I'll switch in and out of this presentation mode to just show what's happening. So here, we just initializing the view model for that fragment, and then we are binding. So binding is similar. We are binding the views. It's similar to if you've done like maybe Java, like you can use find view by ID to sort of like identify the views. So here, because we are using binding, we are already binding the IDs of those views, so we can just use them. So if you look here, we are creating a text view, and then we are just using the binding, and then we just say dot, and then we find the ID. This ID would be defined on the XML. Let's see if I can do this. Yes, I can. Cool. And then this is the XML of the fragment. It's only got like one view here, which is the text underscore home. That is the ID. And then all of these are attributes that defines it, how it should look like, and where it's positioned, and all of that. And how big it should be in terms of like size and all of that. And because we are using a constraint layout, these here are the constraints that tells that tells where it should be positioned relative to the screen, to the parent screen, which is the constraint layout, which is basically a container of the whole screen. So what we are saying here, we're just saying it should be centered. Sorry about that. I'm just trying to get back now. Okay. Cool. So that's that XML for the fragment, which is the home fragment, and that's the activity which does that. Cool. And what we are doing here is, because we have a view model, this is sort of like where your business logic would be. Here, what we are doing is we have a val, which sort of like which is a mutable live data, and what we are doing is we are assigning it a value of this is home fragment, and then what we are doing is we are assigning it to a live data, called text, and we assign that that string. And then I'll tell you what we are doing here. What we are doing here is we are using the view model, and then we use that text, which is that live data, and then we are observing on it. And then if this value here changes, it will be changed automatically on the screen without you doing anything. We are using what we call an observer pattern here. Okay, cool. Now we can switch to the second branch. So I'm just gonna switch to this branch. I'll check out this branch. Okay, cool. So as you can see here, I can't click any of these tabs because of that bug which I told you. So what I did to fix that is it's just to add an extra line of code here, which is this. Nav view dot bring to front. So what we are doing here, when you click here, any of these menu options, you will be able to switch between the fragments. So because I haven't run the app, nothing will happen yet. So we're just gonna run it quickly, and then once it's still building, once it's done and it's deployed, we'll be able to switch between the views. So that's the code which I had to add. And obviously, because I haven't used the nav drawers template in a while, I didn't know that that bug was there. So because I expected it to work out of the box, so I started Googling to figure out what's happening. And then I stumbled upon that bug which said,
hello, excuse me, can you repeat how you can, about the part where you can open other tabs, because I didn't get any of that.
Okay, so if remember, we're on the main branch, so that was just the project running without us actually adding any code. It was just a template code. And then because I saw that I couldn't tab any of these and change the fragments, I started looking around, Googling to figure out what the problem is, and then I figured out what the problem is. And this is the code which I added to make sure that I can be able to select any of the one of these menu options, and then the screen switches because it was not responding to the click touch. And then now it is. I can click now because of this code was missing here. Let me. Cool. This is the code here. And I have my commit here, which I committed as fixed navigation clicks, and you can see the difference. So the first commit was just like initializing the project, and then the second commit, it's this, adding this. And then after adding this code here, it's just to say bring to front, which just brings the fragments to the front. So we are able to navigate between the two screens. So far, I have only written one line of code to, in this project. Okay, if we look at the emulator now, we are able to click. You see, this is gallery. So if I go to slideshow, it will say this is slideshow. So I haven't changed anything besides this line here. And now we'll move to the other branch. Are you guys okay with the screen size, with the screen color?
Yes, on both sides it's fine.
Okay, white is fine. Okay, cool. So that will be the second branch. If we look at this here, so I even have a pull request for that branch with regards to me. So that will be that only change here. So that's that branch, fix navigation click. So if you had cloned the project and you started on the main branch and you run the project, and then now if you switch to the fix navigation click and run it again, you are able to navigate to these different fragments and be able to load. So I'm just gonna explain a little bit more of where this is. So we'll look at the layout. So that will be the main activity layout. That's what's displayed on the screen, and then this here, this layout. I'm just gonna close this for now. Reduce this so that you can see the two different screens. So this side navigation, it's called the navigation view. So if you look at this, it's got a header layout here and the menu layout, right? So the header is this part here, the green part. So that is the header, that builds up the header. And if you can click it, it will take you to a layout which creates the header. If you look at this, we have an image view, we have, which has below it, you have a text view and a text view. And then in this case, they just call it Android Studio, and then they call it this one subtitle. This is the header title, this is the subtitle. So you can obviously change this to whatever you want. If there are questions on the chat, Tiani, please raise them. Cool. So that is the header part. And then if you look here, we have the menu drawer. So that is the bottom part of the navigation drawer. So if you open it, if we look at it, it's got a menu, which is another type of view on Android. And then in this, we have like a group, which just means you want to group these items together. And then you have an item, which is like a menu item. And then you notice most things on Android have this thing called ID. This is the ID that we use to identify it, so that you can be able to reference it and manipulate it with either Kotlin or Java or in other XML and all of that. Okay, how do I get the header layout? So if you go to resources here, and you see layouts, you start with main here. So that is the main activity, which has a navigation view. And the navigation view has a header layout, which is referenced here, right? So if you press Control and click this, it will navigate to the actual file. You see, that's the nav header main, which is this, this layout here. And you can change it, you can manipulate it, you can change anything. Any of these things, like dimensions, you can change it however you want. You can increase the font, you can change the body. So let's change it to body 2. And then you see it's a little bit bigger now. Cool. So that's just the two layouts. So that will be the nav header layout, and then the menu will be on the menu item here. So it'll be the activity menu, which is this one. Cool. I'm going to close some of these so that I can navigate properly. So how does this site navigation actually get drawn on the screen? You'll start here, nav drawer. So that will be the drawer layout. So remember, we mentioned binding, that the activity binds the layouts which are identified on which are referenced by the activity. So if you look at, just want to go to, the actual view. So main activity. So these IDs here will be they'll be binded by this method here, like activity main binding inflate layout inflator, and then you set the content view. So that's the activity, and then you're binding it with root, and then you set up action bar, support action bar. You're basically setting up the toolbar. So that will be the toolbar. So here where you are including the app bar. So that will be, you're setting up all of these here. It's just that bar there, which is what we call a toolbar. And then the drawer itself, this is how you set it up. Because we're using binding, we just say binding. So binding, we'll use this binding to find our ID. So drawer layout, it's the, if you click it, it's the ID of the navigation. So whatever the ID is, if it says drawer underscore layout, it will just be drawer camel case drawer layout using the camel case conversion. So that is the main drawer layout. So that will be, if I can click it, so that will be that whole container. So what we are just saying there is we want to find this whole layout. And then we have it here. And then what we are saying is find the nav view here. And then that will be that view. We are finding it there. And then what we are doing is we are using the nav controller, which is the navigation controller, and then we find the ID of the nav host controller. So it's this. If you open navigation here, we have the different paths that we need to take to the fragments. So if I open this, so that will be the content path. So that is the container of the fragments. So when you tap the menu, it takes whatever fragment and then it uses this fragment layout to inflate it in the screen. Are you still with me?
Yes, sir, we're still with you.
Okay, cool. So that's just the structure here. So as you can see, I haven't really done anything. This code is automatically, it's generated by the template itself. It's just to understand where and how and everything fits in together. So if you remember, we spoke about these menu items here. These menu items here. When I click it, this one says title home, right? When I click it, this menu item, we need to open the home fragment, right? But how do we know to get there? we have what we call a navigation here. So that's what tells us where to go. And this is what helps us. So that's the nav home, and then that's the label. And then that's the name of the fragment where we need to open. And then that's the layout. Cool. So obviously, after that, here we're just setting up the path of the navigation. Those are the IDs, and then what we are doing is we are tying it with the navigation, the navigation menus here. And then here we are just taking the configuration, and then we setting up with action bar. We're just saying it should draw the, if I can increase this a bit, we are saying it should add this hamburger menu, and it should also use the title here. When you click one of these, it should change the title there. And then obviously that brings it to front. And then we have a second menu here, which is this one here. If you can see, it's got settings here. So that is the contextual menu, which is supposed to, if I am building an app and there's a menu here, and there's a screen here, and I see these three dots here. When I click that, I expect the context of this menu here to be related to the screen. So if you have this, you know it's related to the screen. If you have this, the hamburger menu, you know it's related to the whole app. The context is the app here on the right. On the left, it's the screen. So I can't have like a menu item here, which is doing something that's not related to the screen. That would be like bad design. And then here you just setting up a navigation app and all of that. It's so that you can navigate between the screens. Question. Go ahead.
Do we import or do we open a template?
You mean which template?
Yeah, after downloading this from the GitHub.
Okay, you just open it. That's a fully fledged project. So that's this project.
All right. Yeah. So you open the ID and then.
Yeah. So yes, you open existing project. There'll be a menu which says open existing project, and then you navigate where you have cloned the project or downloaded it. If you downloaded it, you have to extract it, and then you just select that.
Okay, extract it before you open it, yeah?
If you downloaded it. If you clone the project, it's not zipped.
Oh, okay. All right, thanks.
Cool. So a
KG,
lot of
sorry,
yeah.
KG, there's a hand from David.
Unmute yourself and ask your question. Okay, cool. I'm gonna switch to this branch where I added a whole bunch of code to help me do something. Excuse, I don't think David has a question.
Yeah, please proceed.
Okay, cool.
Sorry, there's a hand from David and also another person.
Zolil.
Okay.
Letu now also has a hand.
Okay, I wanted to ask on this part of templates, because I wanted to know, is it wise for us to be using templates? Is it a good stream? Are we going to learn much from using templates? Or it's just a skeleton of guidance?
So a template is to give you a head start so that you don't have to start everything from scratch.
Okay, thank you.
Right, but also the skeleton, it's code which was written by someone so that you don't have to do it again, because they have found out that most people, when they start an app, they have to do all of these things. So you can also learn from that code.
Okay, thank you.
Cool. Tando.
Hi. I'm struggling with my app as a whole. I keep getting SSL peer like shut down incorrectly. I don't know if I'm making sense. But it keeps showing up SSL peer shut down incorrectly. Is there any way like we can fix that?
Is it this same app?
Yeah, it's Android Studio.
So she's got a proxy issue.
Oh, you are behind a proxy.
Yeah.
Let's see. How do we do this? Okay, let's see. Will I remember it? Anyway.
Okay, found it. All right.
Okay, cool. If you are behind a proxy, you can add your proxy address here. For your company, if like you are behind a proxy, and if you put it here, I think it might help you.
What do we put in there specifically, like that issue that we have?
I'm assuming you are behind a proxy, like your network provider has a proxy address.
Okay.
Right.
Sorry, David is still saying that it does have a question. David, can you try one more, or maybe try to type it?
Okay, cool. If he's typing, we can just proceed, because this bit has a whole bunch of code which I added, which I still need to go through and explain what's happening on it. Are you following and checking out the branches as we speak?
I'm trying to open this file, and it says file pattern MP4. Which file folder or file do I actually open here? How do we?
Okay, let's do this. I'm quickly going to close this, and then I'll just show you how you clone a project quickly. Can you see my screen?
Let me connect to the internet.
Okay, quickly with the repo, right? I'm just gonna go to it here, right? It says gate code here. So you just click here, you just copy it. You just copy that link, and then because this is already on version control and you have Android Studio open there, you just do this, and then obviously you would have logged in here somehow, and then you just do that. You put your repository.
Are you on GitHub now?
Wait, I'm explaining.
I hear you, but I'm not. I don't know where you are.
Okay, this is GitHub. All right, that's the project. There's that button which says get code. I can clone it, right? You can copy there. Are you seeing this?
Yeah, but I'm trying to do something at the same time because
Maybe try to focus on one thing. So this is how you normally get this code, by cloning. Click there, copy the URL, you open your Android Studio project. It's here in this screen where you start up. If it opens a project, you close it, and then it will come here, right? You have like your different projects there, and then instead of creating a new project, you're not gonna create a new project. Instead of opening, you're not gonna do that because it's on version control. And then you can put your repository here, and then you can choose where you want to clone this. I'm just gonna
my
quickly,
challenge is here.
I'm just
on
quickly,
GitHub now. Where's the clone option?
Okay, KJ, if I can quickly come in.
yeah.
This is Simpio, right? Am I speaking
Sure.
to? Okay. Yeah. So are you currently on GitHub right now?
Yes.
On the browser?
Uh-huh.
Yes. So on the browser, you'll see a green button, return code. Do you see that?
Yes.
And then when you click on that, there's a label return clone. And then you have got HTTPS, you've got SSH, you've got CLI, and then there's a URL. So that URL, the URL return HTTPS ://GitHub. That's the URL you need, right?
Okay, so do I just click on the button next to it?
Yes, you can click next to the button next to it to copy that URL, and then
copy.
yeah, and then do you have Android Studio open now?
Yes.
And then what is showing on Android Studio at the moment?
The one I was practicing on.
Okay, so can you?
You can just close it.
Yeah.
Close the whole thing or just open a new thing?
Yes.
No, you can do this. If you have a project, you can say close project. When you do close project, your Android Studio will still be open, but in this state where it wants you to select a project. And then you can say get from version control. It's this one here. If you do this and then you paste that URL, and then this is where you want to save it to.
Okay, so I paste it on the side.
You paste it here where it says URL. You paste what you copied here.
Also, I open existing, ne?
No, sir.
So at the bottom there's an option that says
Get from version control.
Do you have that option?
Oh yes.
Yes. So click on it, and then it will request for a URL. This is the URL you have just copied, and then paste it there. And then directory is just where you want to.
It's where you want to save it. So in my case, I'm gonna put it here.
Okay, I got that. So it's clone. I click clone.
So yeah, you just click clone. But remember, when you're cloning, you need to make sure that here, the last part of your directory here, it doesn't exist. This last part, otherwise it won't clone if the folder already exists. So if you look at here, this one doesn't exist yet. So when you clone, it will clone it.
Okay, fine. So now it's asking for a proxy.
You shouldn't need a proxy.
So I just say no.
Yeah.
I should disable where it says enable HTTP proxy, HTTPS. I should uncheck that.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Now we're working. All right. Thank you.
Okay, cool. As you can see, when you clone the project like this, it will take a moment to download all of these. It's still configuring. If you look at here, build, well, it's done building now.
Wonderful. It's still building on my side.
Cool. So we were on this other branch. We were on the add gallery photos branch. So just gonna open the project now. If you see here, there's more stuff. It's not just UI. In the previous one, we had UI. We have different packages. We had packages for UI. Now I had added more packages to do more stuff. And I added more files here. And I'll explain some of these. I just want to explain the structure. I have a repository. This is just to help me to get the information, whether it decides whether I'm getting it from the internet or not, or local database. That's the repository. And then I have network, excuse me. And the network is where I have an API which I'm calling, which if I call that API, it will download some data from the internet. And then that's just to configure the network service so that I can actually fetch the data. And then I have models. I have a CAT model. This CAT model, it's the model of the data structure that comes from the API. And also, I use this CAT model as a database table for local database storage. I am using Room to save the data so that when the app runs for the first time, it downloads the data when you click gallery, and then it displays it also, but also it saves that data on the local database. So if I don't have data, or rather if I don't have a network connection and I go to that screen, it will load the data from the database and still display it. Cool. And then this is just the database, and here I just have methods which helps me to query this database. I just have an interface for querying the data from the database, and this is like the SQL commands which I have. That's for inserting, so I'm inserting a CAT here object into this database, and then deleting all will be deleting everything on the database. And then that's the Room database. I'm just busy setting it up that it's a SQL database, SQLite database, which will be an on-device persistent storage. And then that's the companion object to help me initialize the database. So that's the database. That's the model. And then this remote model, this is the data structure of the data we are getting. So I'm getting a list of cats. So this would be the data structure of a cat. I'm just gonna quickly open the URL. Remember when I was starting, I showed you this API call. So this is the data that we are getting. As you can see, if you just post that URL in a browser, you fetch that data. It's an API, it's not protected, it's for teaching purpose. When you are building your own API and all of that, you would normally protect it and authenticate it so that before you can fetch any data. But this one, because it's for teaching purposes, it's just there, so there's no authentication of it. But you can see I can't make up of how this structure is. So, and I can see this is JSON. This is a JSON response. So I copied that, and then I come to JSON linked, and then you paste that. Just need to copy. And then you can say validate JSON. And then it's structured in a readable format. I can read it. I can make sense of this data. right? And when I look at this, I see it's a JSON array which has a couple of JSON objects which are similar. So one object which ends there. I see the structure is it's got an ID which is a string, and it's got a URL which is also a string. I see it's also got a source URL which is that. So if I just copy this, that's how I define my object here. So that's why I have ID string, URL string, source URL, right? And then similarly to similarly to this CAT model, which I'm using it as a database, it's similar structure with the remote one, but with the caveat that I added a description here. And then we move on to the API. So this is just the interface to get the API call. If we look at this part here, excuse. If you look at this URL here, right? So that's that part. That's the URI. And then that's the base URL. So if I had other endpoints in this API, I'll just have the base URL, and then I have my URIs here as different paths. But for now, because I only have one path, I only have that interface, which just gets a list of CAT model. So that will be a list of that CAT model, which is this one. And then I have my network. So I'm just setting up how I should fetch this data. I am using OKHTTP. You can use any other HTTP sort of like frameworks. This is just easier for me. And then here where I have the CAT service, I'm just defining the base URL and the API, which has a list of all interfaces. And then here in my repository, that's where I have different methods to fetch the data, to display the data. I'm getting this data from the database. And then the next thing which I did was to, on the gallery view model, I added a bit of code to fetch the data from the internet. So here, starting from here, so that's the first part, which was there. So I'm just gonna annotate on this so that you can see. So this would be a different commit where I was adding those data. And if I say show diff, you'll see the difference here of what I added. So it's just adding that API, and then I just have like a private var where I'm checking for network connection, because in Android you need to have a network connection before you do a network call. Otherwise you're gonna have issues. Your app will crash because it won't be able to fetch the data on the internet. So here I'm just defining that CAT API, and then here I have this fun init method. I'm just like giving it, I'm just giving it a Boolean which says there is network connection. I'm checking it for it somewhere. So I'm not checking it for the network connection here. Before I even make the call, I say there's network connection. And then the CAT API, I'm just getting the instance of it. And then I have a method which says load cats. Here, the logic is if database has no cats objects, then do a network call. So I'm using an observer pattern again to observe on on all cats, and if you remember all cats, it's we're using love data and we're getting it from the repository all cats as love data. And this is, remember, if you click this, that's that method. We're using a flow to get the data there. So that's that part. So when we get here, because we're observing here, right? If this data doesn't have, if this cat's if this cat's variable, which is what we are observing, which will contain data from that all cats, if it's empty and network is not enabled, right, we're gonna do a network call there. Otherwise, I'm just gonna print something.
Sounds like you're already on the advanced stuff now. Is there other steps that we can follow?
So with the repo, this repo, you are able to annotate and see the commits. If you look at this, so this is where I started, right? So you can sort of like click the file and see what steps I took to get to where we are. So this is another commit, and here I even say I'm doing a navigation click. Excuse, I just need to get a little bit of more water.
Okay, perhaps KJ, while you are getting more water, in the interest of time, so I think the key thing of just getting as to how do you start an app or how do you open an app from a repo, that part, I like to believe that everyone is comfortable with that, and people are still having IDE issues as well. So in the interest of time, can we just quickly maybe wrap up on a high level as to how does one get to continue? But I would also like us to answer Nobutle's question.
Okay, cool. So I'm just going to build the app. So remember, your apps will communicate with a server somewhere. I'm sure it was mentioned. So this was sort of like to demonstrate how you can do that. And you are more than welcome to look at the code and see how we fetch the data.
Shouldn't that come right at the end? Shouldn't we start by learning how to actually build an interface?
Okay, I can just show you how I build the interface without worrying about the network stuff quickly. If I can come here, so I'm running the app now. You'll see how it looks like. I'll be explaining this part, this bit here. Basically, after fetching the data, you need to show it on the screen. And we have what we call a layout, which is a grid layout. It's excuse. If you have that grid layout, you can be able to show data in a grid. So, but in this instance, I'm using a recycler view, which if you have a list of stuff that you want to display on the screen, you do that. Can you just give me a minute so that I can get water?
My concern is that I think our assignment requires us to build some kind of an interface, and I was hoping that would be the main focus.
So Pure will definitely be providing resources around that as well, and also videos. But the Tuesday session by Mukondi also covers that as well. And just to check, Did everyone manage to download the slides? Did you get the slides?
Cool, I'm back. Quickly to wrap up, so we have a recycler. I have a device connected. Let me just remove that. I don't want to deploy it on the device because you won't actually see. Okay, I have a recycler view. A recycler view, it's a type of view where if you have a list of information that you want to display on the screen, and then you have like scrollable, you can scroll on the data. That helps you with that. And it also allows you to present the data either in a grid format or in a linear format. But in this case, because I have like images, when you think of images, you think about a gallery and you think about a grid. So that's what I did here. That's what I did. So the layout manager, it's a grid layout. You could change it and present it in any way that you want. I'll just explain this bit here because I think you should be interested in this. Because we are using a recycler view, you need an adapter, which you give it a list of information and then it presents it in the screen. And then all we are doing here is we are giving it a list here of cats, and then we on bind view we are getting like a position. The grid layout will have like position. It starts from 0 to whenever, and whenever would be the size of your list here. That will be that. And then what we are doing is we are just displaying that image because cat has a URL, and then we are just displaying it here. And I have an on-click event where if I click, I just like toast the ID of that cat. Questions? I hope you're not discouraged by this because it's not really advanced. And if you want to sort of like learn and progress, you shouldn't say, I want to see like beginner stuff. You should see any code, as long as it's related, as long as it's readable and you can read it. It should be, you should be able to read from it. You should be able to tweak. That's why I suggest, like go and clone this repo, change something, because it's already commented, change something, see how it changes, play around with these layouts, go and change something from here. Yeah. Ellen.
Hello, how do you run the app on that phone, that virtual phone you have? Because I don't know how to run the app.
Okay. This virtual phone, right? So I'm just gonna stop here. So there's this button. This button, if this is green like this, you just click run here, and then it will automatically run it here. So this is an emulator. You need to have created this first, and you will use the AVD manager here, this button here, and then you create that virtual device, right? So I already have one, so I'm not gonna create another one, but you can click here to create, and then you just name it however you want. Let's just say I want a pixel, and then you choose your API level, and then you choose like maybe Android S, and then you click next, and then you just finish. Once you click finish, it will be created. And then once it's created, it will be available for you here. you can actually, it'll be under available devices here. If you click here, and then you can start it. And then once it's already running, you can just click run. But what I did so that it shows here, maybe just to show you, I think I went to, will I find it? Emulator here. You see, I went to tools, emulator, launch in tool window. I click this button here, and then when you click this checkbox here, and then you click apply and OK. If you read here, it says enabling this setting will cause Android emulator to launch in a tool window. Otherwise, Android emulator will launch as a standalone app. Some AVD will launch as a standalone app regardless of the setting, due to the hardware profile and all of that. So if I uncheck this here and click apply and all of that and close it, and if I click run again, it will most likely launch it as a separate app here. Yeah, it failed to install because there's no emulator running. So let me start an emulator separately. Okay, there it is. It's running. It's like a separate app outside Android Studio. I'm just gonna bring it here on the other screen. It's like this. But if you are still busy tweaking and developing, you know, like I'd suggest you have it like on the side. It's just easier. Otherwise, if you have like a single screen, you have to like minimize Android Studio. You have to bring it to the front and then do whatever. So, but it's already running now. Most of you will have this type of setup. And then it's already running there. You just click run there, and then it will launch here. So it will automatically launch the app here. So let's just wait for it. It's installing, it's launching the app, and then the app runs. And then another thing to just note of, there's this thing called loghead when you're busy running the app here. So this helps you to show you the logs, and if the app crashes while you're running it, you can find the error message here. Cool. Does that answer your question?
Yes. Thank you.
Cool. No.
Okay, just a quick one. I still want us to get to know what. So guys, I've posted the link taking you direct to the slides from Tuesdays, and from there you can read also how to run the app on your actual phone. So there are steps that you need to do with your phone. Some of you might be using Huawei devices, for example. So with Huawei devices, you might be required to download HSuite. So HSuite is a suite that helps your phone to connect with your computer. For Samsung users, you might want to download Samsung Suite. You know, so it also depends on what what kind of a device you use as well. But can you quickly let Nobutle ask a question?
Hello. Okay, so I've been actually struggling with my Android Studio, but I was able to troubleshoot, and it seems like it is working. However, I'm trying to connect my phone with the IDE, but I'm on the part now where I'm supposed to select a system image. I downloaded the API level, and it says here HAXM is not installed. I downloaded, I installed the HAXM, but you know, it's just still on this screen. Nothing is happening. There's no prompt for like proceeding, and I don't see any images. So I'm wondering what I should be doing to fix it.
Okay, do you have a physical device or you want to use the emulators?
I do have a physical device. Yeah.
Because you mentioned that you want to install your phone. So I'm assuming you're talking about the emulator.
Okay.
Cool. So, okay. So here, under SDK tools, you'll need to install, where is Hexam? Here, Intel Hexam, if you are using a Windows machine, or rather an Intel processor machine. And if you are using a Celeron or AMD, I believe there is this one here for AMD processors. So you need to know which processor your machine is and install the right Hexam. And then to install this, I think you need to enable something on the BIOS. I just don't have the link for it. I'm sure Tiani, we can find it and just provide that link on Slack, which takes you the steps.
Yeah, so you would need to enable a virtualization technology.
Yes. Yes. So if you just click search here and click on your Windows machine, and then you click hyper something, Hyper-V, and then it will probably show you hyper, and then you can enable it. I think if you type enable.
Okay, so yeah, I have this is it hyperlink and anchor? Is that the thing?
No, it's you have to enable virtualization. I think it'll be better if we can just like find the if we can just create a document with the steps of what you need to do to enable that, and then you should be able to. So also you can run your app in your physical device. This is a physical device which I have, and I'm running it, and I have the app here running. I'm not sure if it's gonna show anything like that, but it's still taking its time to download the images. I hope you can see. So this is a Huawei device which doesn't have Google Play services. And it works because my app doesn't really use any of the Google Play services. But if your app is gonna use a Google Play service, you will need to use a device which supports that.
Okay, no problem. Thank you so much. I will try and look into it.
No, rather post on Slack the error messages, the screen, so that we can have an idea of what error are you experiencing. Tando.
Okay, do that. Thank you.
I just wanted to make sure, can all of this be done on a PC? Like do we have to use our phones, or can this all be done on a PC?
You can use a PC. Everything can be done. You can develop an app and test it on the PC without ever needing a phone. That's what I've been showing you, like with this emulator. Like everything here up until this point, it was from the PC, like Android Studio emulator. This app was able to run on a physical device for the first time now. Like I didn't test it on a physical device because I tested it on the PC, but also it's also advised that you test on a real device because it's just much better there. But because this is a very basic app which doesn't have a lot of features, you are able to test it here on the emulator.
Okay, thank you.
Emulator, remember the emulator will take like lots of RAM because your Android Studio will take some of it, Java will take some of it, your emulator will take some of it. So if you have like a low spec PC or laptop, it will be slow. So that's why, like, if you have an Android device, it's better to just like test on the device, enable debug mode, just plug in the USB, deploy your app on the phone and test there, and then so that you are actually faster. Cool. Next question. The part from fetching the data from the database. Okay, cool. Okay, in my fragment here, the gallery fragment, I have the recycler view. I have this part here. It's just to check if there's a network connection on the device. If there's no network connection, this will be false. And then here, I'm just checking the screen configuration, whereby if the screen rotates, the app, I'm just gonna enable auto rotate. Okay, cool. Cool. If you can see, if I rotate the screen, you have like more apps. You have like a 4 columns. If it's in portrait, you have 2 columns, landscape 4. That's that part here. I'm just checking the configuration of screen. If I have like a wider screen, like I'll put more columns. And then I'm just setting up the data, and then all I'm doing is from my view model, I have the all cats. I'm just observing on this. And then if this changes, I'm just going to click this so that you can see where it actually happening. If this repository changes, because I'm using an observer pattern, if it changes, if the data changes, it will return the data. It will sort of like emit the data. And then once I have the data here, all I'm doing is I'm checking if it's not empty. And then I just display I just pass the data into the recycler view. And then the recycler view takes that list of data and display it on the screen.
Okay, KG, we are running out of time, but just a few questions on the Q&A. So CF Mkondo is asking, why are we meeting on Google Meet today? So the session that you guys are always watching on Tuesday, that's the production. It's done in studio, but we had to urgently create this Meet call. This Google Meet call, just to engage directly and be able to answer questions live with everyone. Because sometimes you need that voice interaction with the mentors. So we are set to hear of your troubles. And then there's a question from Dumo Masopa. I'm asking, want to know how JDK versions will impact my project.
Java, you mean Java versions?
Yeah, JDK versions.
No, it shouldn't really impact it. So what you should worry mostly about it is the Gradle version. And I think currently when you create a new project, it's around 6.7. That supports Java versions from, I think, 1.6 to JDK 15. So if you have any of those JDK versions, you should still be able to build your project without issues. I think once you start to go to the Gradle version 7, then you might experience some issues around how your project is structured and all of that. And you might want to consider to upgrade. But just for now, I'm using JDK 1.8, so JDK 8 to build a project. So that's still going to be around for a while.
Okay, and then final question from Tumo on the Q&A. Is the themes directory represent styles and colors under values directory?
Yes, so colors, that will be the theme colors. I chose purple for this. I don't know why. It's just, well, the template chose purple, but if you want to change these primary colors and all of that, you can change these colors. So that will be your styling. And then the theme, I didn't really style my theme. I'm just using the normal theme that comes with the Android project, and it's got a day-night mode. And then we're just applying primary colors and secondary colors there. Excuse, based on that. And then we have different themes. Excuse. And if we were to, I'm not sure if it's possible, if we were to toggle the night mode, you'll see this app behave differently. But I don't know how to do that there. But the colors are the same, so it's similarly. But if you, because of this night theme, if you change the color differently and someone opens your app at night, it will have the night theme colors automatically without you having to do anything. Cool. And then bringing a keyboard, you need a layout which will be able to like a layout which you are able to edit text, and then that will allow you to bring, when you focus on it, the keyboard will automatically be brought up. Any questions?
Tepang. Tepang H. Pape, your hand is up. Can go ahead and ask.
Yeah, just get more people to ask questions if there are any questions.
Yes, how do you put cat pictures?
Oh, so that happens in the adapter, and then I'm using a library called Glide. With this library, you just give it a URL, and then it does the network call to fetch the picture. And then I have an image view, which from the name, it's an image view. It loads images. So I just give it that, I just load it into that image view here. So when you are building apps, you're not gonna build everything from scratch. You'll use libraries. It's just impossible to build your app from scratch. You use libraries. That's why also Android gives you all these libraries so that you can get started.
Okay, there's a question from Chumani Diliki. Having problem with emulator, it says could not detect an ABD binary. Emulator functionality is not working.
That's probably from your setup of Android Studio. It just means you are not able to detect where. If I can open SDK, my SDK, and show you a little bit. You are not able to open the ADB. It's mostly has to do with your configuration. Let me try to find where mine is so that you can also find yours and click it. Okay, if you look here, where is it? Tools, binary.
Check it under extras.
Yeah, extras. No, it's not extras. Not build tools. Not that. Yeah, here, platform tools. There's this ADB.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, try to run it manually and see what it says. And if it can't run, it just means you didn't configure. It's not finding your Java path properly. So just try to run that manually and see what happens. It should just like flash or something. So it just means your Android Studio is not, it doesn't know where your SDK files are. So maybe what you can also do is just open settings. Just hold on. Yeah, build tools. You know, there's a simpler way. It's just to go here, SDK manager. And then here, your Android SDK location. So you just need to do this and choose your location where your SDK is. And if your Android Studio cannot find this, it's not able to find where a location of your SDK file. So it's not able to find your ADB and all of that. And also, if you open project structure, I believe you go SDK location, you can change it here and put where it is, like your SDK location is. And then if you are able to find this, you will be able to download all of these emulators and also these other SDK tools. And then your ADB should work.
Awesome. Oh, we are really out of time. But just quickly, Thabo, Thabo, can we start with you?
I have a quick question. I just want to know just the small differences between the two layouts, the constraint layouts and the linear layout, and when to use one of them.
When to use one of them, it's totally up to you. Linear layout, I'm just gonna open this so that I can show you. A linear layout adds the views linearly, whether horizontally or vertically. So if this was a linear layout and then I have this, I'm just gonna do this. And then I have this view here, right? So this will be my second view, this will be my first view. The first view will be the first view there at the top, if it's vertically. And then this view will be below that, if it's vertically. If it's horizontal, it will be next to it, going to your right.
Oh, okay.
So that's your linear layout. From the name, it's linear. It's got two different types of orientation, vertical or horizontal. So if it's vertical, it starts from the top going downwards.
Mhm.
It will just lay them like that. A constraint layout is just like a canvas. You decide how you want your views to be shown on the canvas. So,
Okay.
so that's the main difference. And besides the performance issues, so a constraint layout, because you've already constrained the views within the screen, it performs faster than a linear layout because it has to calculate when it loads the screen, it has to calculate where it needs to put the next view.
Okay.
So there is a cost implication on that when it runs, because it takes the first view and puts it on the second screen and says, okay, the second one, where does it start? It starts next to, or rather, it's going to be bottom or right of the first view. So it needs to calculate that, it has to do that calculation on the fly. That's why if you put like maybe 20 pictures, like 20 different image views on a linear layout, and you are loading images on the screen, your app will probably crash because it won't have memory to actually load all of those pictures. That's why you have things like recycler views, because it actually recycles the views when they go either above or below the view. If it's no longer visible, it recycles and use that memory location.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Cool.
Right, Tsabang, are you still here? Are you able to speak?
Yes, I am still here.
Okay, shoot your shot, ma'am.
Yes, I wanted to say that like I am new to like this whole thing. Like I just saw an email because I was interested in this. Yeah, in this app things, and then I joined the MTN business. What that name? So now I have no knowledge, like I have no experience, nothing. But I'm very interested in this, and I just want to know, where should I start? What should I do?
Okay, my advice: don't do it alone. You're gonna feel discouraged. Find a group, work in a group. Be honest and say you are learning. There are ways to contribute and be interested in it. That's just my advice. Find someone who's a little bit experienced and then figure it out together. You know, if you have questions, we are there on Slack. If you try something and then you have errors, you know, like Google first. Someone, I kid you not, someone has already had that problem of yours in the past. The answer will be there. If you are not able to understand it, you know, like post it on the Slack. We'll assist you.
Okay. So I saw that there's a deadline tomorrow. We must create an app. So I do not, like, I must meet the deadline. I don't know. Yeah.
Remember, you have to submit as a group. So find a group, work within a group, work together as a group and submit.
Okay, I saw that Mr. Tiani Ngonyama, he has a group, right?
I have a group, Mina.
Please. That's what I think I saw it on Slack. I don't know.
Okay. All right. Is your name Tepang A on Slack?
Yes.
All right. I'll get in touch with you.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. All right. Quickly, Canva, was your question answered, or do you still have another one? Okay. Tumo?
I think those are old hands.
All right. In that case, thank you so much, Kutazo, for this session. The recording. Yebo?
Yeah, I had Kutazo talking about recycle view. Actually, I'm interested when I'm doing this splash screen. is it really necessary to have separate activities to load the splash and then go to the next screen? Can I just let them work in the same activity?
Okay, so the exercise is just so that you understand the basics of launching different screens. So that's why they suggested that you have a splash screen. You can even put like your team picture there on the splash screen, and then you put like a timer. You wait few minutes, and then you launch another screen. It's just to demonstrate it's just so that you can showcase that you're able to do that. And then the second screens, it helps you with navigations because when you build your apps, depending on how complex it is, you won't have a single activity. You might have like multiple activities. So if you don't know how to do that, you're gonna struggle. So that's why this exercise is designed for that, so that you master those few things of navigating from one activity to another and passing data or something like that.
Oh, okay. So it's advisable to build an activity for the splash screen separately, or
yeah, separately, and then you have other activities, just how the exercise asks you to do. You're not required to put like fancy views or anything like that. It's just to put a splash screen, move from one activity to another. You have like few buttons here and there, not complex logic. So just try to stick to that. You'll be amazed by how you do that. You do the exercise.
Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, no, guys, we are really out of time, but one of the things we're going to introduce going forward are coding badges. And those coding badges, it will be your group or a set of individuals where you come together, to make sure that people are learning based on their paces. If you are completely a new beginner, we'll ensure that you've got coding badges for that journey. But I just want to thank Kutazo, Mukondli, for providing the guidelines and also the session today. And the code is available. Go play with it. Get to get an understanding. As Kutazo said, working with a template allows you to be able to see how others build their apps. And from there, if you are playing around with the code, you will get to learn to say, oh, this is doing this on the app. It was written like this. This is how the code looks and such. So do practice as much as you can. The best way to be a great app developer is to practice, and the practice process is one thing that will make sure that we are guiding as such. And I want to thank everyone for coming in today as well. So on Tuesday, we are doing a module 2, which is focused on UI, UX. So how to design an appealing app. So, and then also what's the process, starting from wireframing to ensuring that you get to design assets for your app, and then integrating those into your app to have a super great looking app. With that, ladies and gentlemen, have a great weekend. Let's keep learning and growing each other. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tiani.
Thank you very much, Tiani.
Bye, everyone.
Cheers. Bye.